Hi, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the Kabar United States Navy knife. It's the MK1, full flat grind, 1/8 of an inch, 1095, all the way down through to the pommel and pinned. I have batoned this knife, but only in the sense of like some small diameter kindling. Nothing great, nothing, not necessarily firewood. I've used it to cross grain baton for like pot hanger notches and a myriad of other types of camp notches too. And the knife performs extremely well because of that nice full grind like that. Full height grinds, for those of you who may not have any, are fantastic. They are extraordinary. They're extraordinary because there's no resistance. Okay, once again, these are facts. Right, these are the facts because this is the physics involved. And there's no friction because there's no shoulder here to contend with, or there's no low grind in this area to contend with, like maybe a saber grind would all of a sudden become full thickness some point along this area, or a Scandi grind would be even lower. You would reach a full thickness down here, which is great if you're doing shallow cuts. You usually don't notice things too much. If you start getting into other media is when you start noticing it. Carrots, potatoes, even some chest lever grip and some power cuts. Knives that are full height grinds like this, man, they bite real deep. Deeper than those thick Scandi grind knives. Excuse me, bit of a sinus cold I have here. So yeah, they bite very, very well. The thing that's great about this is you can go from the kitchen right out to camp, and it functions very well. Makes a great food prep knife. I have obviously convexed this cutting edge here, so it is even less resistance. There's no, bevel here for the the actual grind. This is all convex. Those shoulders have been knocked down, and I prefer it that way. And you can tell the difference tremendously. But that's what's great about this. So if you haven't had a chance to have the full height grinds, I think it's great. It's a great idea to try one out. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to try one out. Excuse me. This is not an expensive knife. You can look them up. Not expensive at all. I mean, it's not as cheap as a Mora craft line, but in terms of the knives that a lot of people are buying, and including myself, it's not really anything that's going to break the bank if it's something that you want. And this is another full height grind, but this is a full height hollow grind. This is the Case Amber Bone Model 6375. And once again, same type of thing. These knives slice extremely, extremely well. Now, I would obviously abuse a wood lure. I shouldn't say abuse, but I would use it probably a lot heavier than I would use this. The wood lure is built different. All right, it's a much more robust knife. But the inherent problems with that is that if any of you have tried food prep and some other things that doesn't involve cutting wood, shallow cuts in wood, you'll find that those heavy Scandi knives like that are, in my opinion, they're subpar. May sometimes go a little too far in one direction in terms of so much woodworking ability, but it takes away from this other ability. This will give you all that ability. You will not be in a situation where you will have died because of your inability to make a hearthboard as quickly as you could have with a wood lore or a mora or whatever it is. You're going to make it just as quick with this. It's not a competition, which is what I feel a lot of bushcraft has become. A lot of competition. Tri-sticks. Got to make it in 2 minutes. Why? Why is that? Someone said, but it's great if you can. I mean, kudos to you. That's fantastic. But I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, that's necessary for my belt knife to have to do that in the hands of someone skilled enough to do it. And I'm sure they could do it probably just as easily with this. And these these knives here come, I think there's a craton handle one with a, I don't know, maybe it's a molded plastic sheath. I don't believe it's Kydex. This is the one that comes with this knife. This is the leather sheath marked USN on there. Plenty heavy duty enough, man. These types of sheaths here I've seen World War II, This did darken up a little bit. I treat stuff with beeswax. And so there's a slight film. If you were to scrape your fingernail, you can sense a little bit of wax on there. And I like that. So this will not maintain the knife without this strap. And I wish that one thing that this strap could be rotated, but it cannot be. There's a rivet inside here. Why I wish it could be rotated is because walking through the woods, if this is on your right-hand side, brush can clip this if you're going through heavy brush. And now you have a knife that doesn't have any nothing securing it, nothing friction-wise securing this knife. And it probably wouldn't fall out unless you leaned over, but maybe you hop over something and this can get dislodged, or this can be up here like this and you can cut your arm maybe on it, but it's not secure like that. But there are aftermarket sheaths I have seen on eBay that you can have for this knife. You can obviously make your own. Nice little, and it will drain water, but it's another hole for attachment. Perhaps you want to tie down to your leg. Great combo. Reminds me a lot of the old timers in my area and my grandparents' generation. I'm close to places like this, Kabar, Ontario, Case. A very good friend of mine, his family started Case Knives. His last name is Case, obviously. So there's heritage, and there's heritage in this area that a lot of people sold tackle boxes and heirlooms from their grandparents and the World War II generation I'm speaking of, and even before that. A lot of old yard sales and antique shops, you will find K-Bar and you will find Case because they were in this area. They were readily close. So we got sort of guerrilla marketed in a sense. So there's a lot of these around, obviously, everywhere. But in the area I live, and in this Great Lakes Basin region, there's a lot of these types of knives from the fishing and the in hunting style all the way to the USMC and Case knives galore, from their fixed to their folding pocket knives. So I like this in the sense that there is sort of a local type of thing for me, and but it does tick the bill, for everything that one would need for a woods blade. I would probably team this up with a hatchet, perhaps a saw, and a half axe, anything like that. This is not really going to chop for you. And the generation that this knife was used primarily by didn't really chop with knives and didn't really use knives how we use them. And you wouldn't really want to with this. You probably would end up breaking this tang in here or severely distorting it if you're doing heavy batoning like you would a Spyderco Bushcrafter or a Bark River Bravo series. This is not that kind of knife. Keeping that in mind, use it within its its design, and you will be fine. So check this knife out. Give this knife a try, and I guarantee you will enjoy it. It is a handful. The handle is a little short, but I don't think it's anything that could be couldn't be overcome by any of you users out there. But check out the old Kabar from Olean, New York. If none of you have one and you want to try a nice full height grind like this, I believe the World War II era ones, there are some slight differences, and I think those might have been thinner than this 1/8 of an inch stock. They did everything involving a knife with the older generation was really just slicing and shaving. There was no truncating firewood, or at least it wasn't the knife's primary function, because physics will tell you that if that's its primary function, that its function as a knife in terms of slicing, food prep, and hunting is going to be severely diminished. So there's going to be sacrifices made. There isn't the one knife. There's ones that are very, very close. But just whatever you decide on. This is going to be a great slicer, feather sticker. You can do some, craft-style batoning, i.e. hearth boards, notches, things like that. Firewood, yeah, I guess, but that's not really how I would use this or think of this. In a pinch, sure. And then it will hold up. I mean, you're going to be a chimp if you're breaking this. I mean, use your sense. Excellent knife, though, and gives some good detail work. Serviceable sheath. Thanks again for watching.